She wants me arrested for harassment.
I do not condone this at all.
They're another kind of unhinged. My grandfather passed away last year, but before that, my mother immediately swooped in to take care of him. In his final 3 weeks, she went through all his belongings and took all the good stuff before her siblings could.
No, it's just looting. Looting is hard.
She hired a lovely nurse to help him, but my mother still maintains that she was his sole caretaker. Now, one of the things she took was the handicap placard from his car. She then started using it everywhere she went, despite being in perfect physical health. When I told her it was shitty of her to do that, she said, I spent so much time caring for him, I earned it.
I'm his number one fan.
I'm your number one fan. I'm your number one fan.
As I've said before, that's a lie. I then found out that our city has a volunteer parking enforcement program. I spent 4 hours on a Saturday to get certified. It was free. Then I started following her. When she said she was going out for groceries, when she went out for brunch with her friends, even when she went to church. She's a sinner. And by the power vested in me by the great city in which I'm a resident, I wrote her 3 parking tickets in a week, totaling somewhere around $1,500.
Wow.
Wow. I took pictures of her car each time so I would have evidence if needed. She even had to argue with the judge that she would never do it again and that she did not deserve community service. A poor choice on the judge's part, but hey, that's the system for you. This person doesn't like their mom.
Yeah. And I think probably for good reason, somebody who would do that. Wow.
Whoa, your mama, you're riding around writing your mama tickets and you...
As soon as we get done, I'm going to look up and see if my city happens to have one of those. How great would that be?
I got one of my first California parking tickets recently. And in my defense, the stupid, our city signs, I don't care if you're in Santa Monica or LA itself or wherever, they do this where the signs have 1,000 words and you're sitting there checking off your list. Okay, street sweeping on Monday from 2 to 4, check, it's not Monday. Up between 6 and midnight, only people with permits. Okay, it's not 6 p.m. yet. You check off 8 things to see. I will stand there with my phone. I'll take a picture. I'll go through every little thing to make sure I can park there. Forget the meter. Just read the sign first. That's the first thing you have to do. It's a lot going on. It's designed so we can get a ticket. 20 minutes before my Pilates class ends, I get a ticket for $60. That's a lot of money.
It's not $1,500 though. I can't stand when people park in handicap spots.
I know.
There are a limited number of them. The people who need them need them.
It's true. I will be honest. I think it's crappy. Now, have I been in someone's car and they've had a placard and maybe they had grandma's car and we ran to the store and they parked there? Probably. It's bad. But I may have been in a car before that has done that a few times.
See, if I had been the voluntary parking enforcer, I would have got you.
How? It's on the license plate and in the window. How could you get me? Get more parking. That's the real issue.
Is it?
Is that really the issue?
The real issue is this person is not like their mama. That is the bottom line. That is a lot of effort to go do a voluntary class, to go be a part of a secret squad of ticket writers. That's a lot.
Secret squad.
You got some free time. Just tell your mama to stop. Like, this is silly.
I used to live in an apartment complex, and this asshat of a guy would park in handicap parking in his luxury SUV while using his grandmother's old handicap tag.
You're a douche.
What a douche.
At the time, I was driving a nice car, and he talked to me one day and told me all of this while asking about my car, etc. I just kind of nodded my head. He said that, quote, because of HIPAA, people can't ask if I'm actually handicapped.
HIPAA?
I talked to property management, and they said that there was nothing that they really could do. As the weeks went by, I grew more and more annoyed and discovered how much of a douche he really was. He would show up to the pool with the loudest speaker known to man and bother everyone.
It's too loud.
Way too loud, Debbie.
Eventually, I hatched a plan to get some revenge on this injustice. Over the next few weeks in the dark of night, I would let out a small amount of air in a random tire. Every time it was random. I did this for 3 months at random times and intervals. I talked to him one day, and he brought up that he had to spend $2,000 replacing all of his tire pressure sensors because something was wrong with the system. I had to hold back laughter. He said service techs kept telling him nothing was wrong, but he thinks the dealer is incompetent. After that, I left him in his car alone and had a grin on my face every time I saw his car parked there. That's expensive.
That's bad. So like tampering with someone else's property, that's doing the most.
I mean, he wasn't actually damaging it.
He tampered though. He touched his car to do. I mean, let's say he let out enough pressure. The guys on the road one day, and the tire pops. I don't know. I mean, you would feel bad. But I think that was mean. I mean, I get that he doesn't like the guys parking there. Doesn't need the spot. There are limited handicap spaces. The guy is very, braggadocious and annoying. I get all of that, but to start going around it in, messing with his tires is making you a little weird. You need to go handle your issues too. That's weird.
Yes, it was mean, and I do not condone this at all.
See.
All right, Petty Betty.
Petty girl.
Don't be judgy with me.
I'm judging this one. I'm being judgmental. That one was a little mean and unnecessary.
Yo, so I come to my car, I see this letter on my car. I'm parked at my homeboy's crib. And I get this letter, please do not park in front of our home. So I went and knocked on the door and asked why. It's a public street. And she said she owns this parking spot. She owns it.
This guy right here is on my property.
Because I knocked on the door.
Coming and knocking on my door and causing us problems. I don't know who this guy is, but he needs to leave.
And I asked, why was she?
My property?
I'm not on your property.
Leave my property.
I'm not on your property.
Sure, leave my property.
I'm on the sidewalk. I'm a public.
Leave my property.
I'm on public property.
You need to leave my property.
I can stay right here.
Okay, that's it.
No, right there.
That's your property.
That's my property.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Can you leave?
No, it's not.
We don't live here, sir.
It doesn't matter. I'm visiting. Okay. So you do this for everyone that comes and visits?
No, but there's people who park in front of my house continuously.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, can you please leave?
Oh, no. This is I have every right to be right here.
You have right to stay there, but you don't have to be a jerk.
You don't. This is a jerk.
That's a joke.
No,
Please
no.
don't park
Please don't park in front of the house.
You know what I'm gonna do? I might just come out here and park every weekend right here.
All those people are annoying.
How many times do you need to tell people that you don't own the street in front of your house? And let's be clear, they knew that. They were just trying to intimidate somebody.
No one cares. People get mad because if you're visiting, I mean, it even happens in my neighborhood. We tend to get mad when the business across the street, they choose not to pay for their company parking and they want to park in front of our building. There's nothing we can do about it. It's a public street. Anyone can park there. And they know that.
They absolutely know that.
And I think they're also picking and choosing who they bother. They got the right petty man that day who was willing to have an argument with them and tell them he wasn't even getting loud. It's like, I'm not moving because he knew his rights. He's not bothering you. To write a note only makes it worse. And then to confront a person and say, I know that you can park, but I don't want you to. You sound silly. Who cares what you want? You don't own. How about you go buy a house where you have more land, more property, where you can protect your precious front yard and your driveway? Go buy a bigger house. The other day, I was delivering fuel to a gas station. The station was set up where the tank access lids are right by the parking spots. For me to be in a position to dump fuel, I need to block all of the parking spots in front of the building. That makes sense. There's usually a car or two in the way, and I can usually patiently wait until I'm clear to pull in. If it's a busy time of day, I put cones up as cars leave to prevent anyone else from pulling in until I've moved into position. Because this person's delivering the fuel. But this time, a lady in a Tesla. Oh, we're done. Those Tesla drivers. A lady in a Tesla absolutely could not handle parking 50 feet away and had to move my cone to park right in front of the door. I hopped out of my truck and went inside to ask her to move so I could deliver the gas. And she told me, get bent. You can wait until I'm done here. So I pulled my truck in behind her with about 2 inches to spare between my truck axles and her bumper. I set my brakes and began hooking up hoses to unload. Since I couldn't park in the ideal position, my large 3-inch hose was too short to reach the hole, so I used my 2-inch hose, which is longer but does limit flow rate by about 33%. No sooner than 5 seconds after I've opened my valve to start the fuel delivery, she comes out screaming that she's in a hurry. I need to move my truck before she calls the cops for harassment. I told her, get bent. You can wait until I'm done here. He's my kind of petty. She asked me how long it would take. I informed her that normally it would be about 45 minutes, but because I had to use my smaller hose, I figured about an hour and 15 minutes. Ooh.
Wow.
She stormed off and got in her car and called the cops. About 10 minutes later, 2 officers arrive and ask what the problem is. She wants me arrested for harassment. Gas station employees side with me, saying the woman was rude and belligerent, and I'm just here to do my job. The cops tell her she's just going to have to wait, and they leave. I took my sweet time unloading and doing all my paperwork. In all, she waited an hour and a half before I moved my truck when I left. As I was waiting
Wow.
out of the parking lot, she zoomed around me and pulled out into the street, directly into the path of oncoming traffic. She was T-boned by a lifted pickup with heavy-duty cattle guard bumper. Her Tesla was totaled. She was not injured, but I almost had an asthma attack from laughing so hard. Well, hey, I'm sorry she got in an accident because that's
Mm.
scary. Glad no one's
Yeah.
hurt. But what a tough lesson.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't think people like that actually learn lessons. Do you?
She probably left the victim because this guy blocked me in for an hour. I ended up in an accident. Or don't be an a-hole initially. Move your car, let him do his job, and don't speed out. Pay attention, and instead of driving off mad, you ended up in another situation. Sorry that she got in an accident. That sucks.
If you pulled into a parking lot and there's a cone there,
I
would you
don't move
get
it.
out and move
I
it?
just go somewhere else because she
Yeah.
wasn't there to get gas. Let's be clear. She was there to run into the store. She could have parked anywhere because, she needs that special Tesla fuel pump thingy that's not fuel.
You've got some Tesla issues.
Worst drivers on the road, Teslas. They're invincible. They're in a Tesla. They're inconvenienced always. You're in their way. Tesla. They're dented. They're scratched because they're driving like maniacs. Tesla people are rude on the road. They own the road. If they could bump you and push you over and keep going and not scratch your car, they do it all day long.